We don't have any employees in our agency. Everybody is a contractor and nobody works full time. We're all part time. We are all in some stage of motherhood and kind of figuring out how to harmonize a creative career, but still be able to parent our kids too. And I mean, I kind of joke about this all the time, but sometimes we're having a team meeting and someone does have a toddler on their head, and it's fine because they're getting their job done. That's what is the really important thing.
How did you start building the team? Like what was the first role that you hired and why?
The first role I brought on was a virtual assistant. And I laugh at myself now, kind of looking back on this, because I was so white knuckled about like, I have to do everything myself. And I knew I was at a point where I couldn't keep doing everything myself, not just bringing on those other skill sets, but also the workload. It was just too much for me. And my first VA that I worked with, her name was Kara. I kind of brought her on and was like, look, I don't really know how to work with you, but I know I need you. So can we work something out here? And she did a great job of kind of teaching me how to be her client and how to start to hand things off and create processes. And she ended up moving on for another opportunity, I think after a year or so. But I have to give her a lot of credit for really building a foundation in me for how to let things go and involve other people in what I'm doing.
I applaud you because there's a lot of people in that situation that wouldn't hire until you know what they actually need to do, right? Like it's really difficult. And I love that you were honest with them going, I have no clue how you can help me, but I think you can help me. So let's kind of dive into that because I find that pretty interesting because I guarantee you there's tons of people listening going, they literally in their minds, and maybe this is how you were, you couldn't see 40 hours of them helping you a week. Is that correct? Or like you didn't know what it looked like?
I think part of it is that I was afraid to lose control of something and then feel like I wasn't really delivering the same quality level for my clients. I mean, I think it takes some humility to be able to say, like, hey, I'm not the only person in the world who can do this. You can find good people and it's a matter of trusting them. But yeah, there also was an element of like, not just filling her time necessarily, but how much work is it going to be for me to pass things off? I mean, I tend to be probably a little bit too thorough with things sometimes. And I thought, you know what? Rather than have to like explain this to somebody, it'd be easier to just keep doing it myself. Well, no, that's really not true. It's kind of that initial process of getting things out of your own head. It just pays dividends forever because now it's all not stuck in your head anymore. So just devoting a little bit of time in the short term to get over that hump, I think is a big, at least for me, that was a big piece of it.
What was the first, like when you went to her and said, I have no clue what you can help me with? What was the first thing that you guys wound up doing together that was a big factor for you?
One thing I can talk about that she introduced that made our relationship work was a project management system. So she introduced me to Asana, and that piece for us to be able to collaborate was huge. And that's what my whole agency runs on today. It's absolutely become essential to us. But I think that was a big part of it, was getting things into Asana so that they could be shared, getting them off my notepad on my desk. That was definitely one of the initial pieces we worked on.
What were some of the things that you did to get the knowledge from what was between your ears into other people's ears so they could actually go do it? Because I felt the same way many years ago where I was like, I might as well just do it. It'd take me longer explaining it.
I think there's a couple things, and this is going down the road a little bit and some lessons learned. But one thing for me is about building processes. And I mean, Asana is such a great tool for that. And in the beginning, it was me building all the processes. And as my second VA ended up evolving into our project manager, now she's the one who builds the processes for things. And so, we really collaborated on that a lot, but she really owns it now. So having consistent processes, I think, is a huge, huge piece of it, because then the expectations are clear. Who's doing what, when is it happening, all those kinds of things. I think the other piece of it is in the compensation that you set up a little bit, because we don't have any employees in our agency. Everybody is a contractor and nobody works full time. We're all part time working on this. And so the way that we have structured our compensation is that we have certain retainer packages for our clients, and each role within the agency gets a certain portion of that. And so I did it that way to create, an incentive for them to be doing great work, to feel more invested in the success of the client, as opposed to just like an hourly, whatever hours it takes. That was kind of the biggest reason. But to come back to this whole thing about getting stuff outside of your head, now I have a team who's compensated based on the success of the agency and the success of our clients. So I don't think, oh, I don't want to give that to that person because I'm going to have to pay her for an hour of work. It's more, oh, no, this person is more like my partner and this is something that she can do. So I'm going to hand it off there.
It's very clever of doing that. I remember I was working with a client, Ralph, with Tier 11, and they're an 8-figure agency now. And they had all their account managers were contractors as well. And he was like, why are they never upselling their clients? And I was like, do you want me to break this down for you? And he's like, yeah, sure. I was like, well, you're not incentivizing them. You're actually, if they upsell them, they're still going to be paid the same, but they're going to have to do more work. So why would they do that? And so what we came up with, that type of model of going, we'll have a number of different tiers. So if you can actually move this client up to the next tier, you're going to make more money. And then, they're incentivized to raise them up. And lo and behold, what happened? Well, they started upselling, which was crazy, right? Like, imagine
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean, I want the whole team to feel invested in what we're doing. I don't want it to be the Sarah show, because it was the Sarah show for a really long time. And I think I've tried to kind of move it away from that and make it really more about this team of women that's working with our clients.
Talk about kind of the part-time, because I don't want to skip over this of you're working part-time, they're working part-time. Are they working on other stuff, or are they all mothers as well, managing families?
Yes. So, I mean, I didn't necessarily set out to say I'm only going to hire moms, but that's just how it has kind of worked out to be. And yeah, most of them have other clients as well that they work with, kind of as freelancers, but we are all in some stage of motherhood and kind of figuring out how to harmonize a creative career, but still be able to parent our kids too. Um, in my case, my kids are a bit older. They're in school all day, so I have a lot more flexibility than some of them that have much younger kids. So, I can do the client calls. I can do the things that you can't do with a kid screaming in your background. And I mean, I kind of joke about this all the time, but sometimes we're having a team meeting and someone does have a toddler on their head, and it's fine because they're getting their job done. That's what is the really important thing. So that's just something that I'm super passionate about personally, is being able to support moms, because I think moms are a hugely untapped talent pool. A lot of them just opt out because they think, I can't do both. Like, I can't be present for my kids and build a career. And I don't think that's true. It's not easy, but it is possible, but you gotta kind of do it the right way.
I hope you enjoyed this content. If you want more content like this, make sure you click on the link on the screen or check out your most popular podcast platform where the full episode is there. And until next time, have a swank day. What are you doing? Go check it out. Click on the link. I'll see you soon.